Linda Cohn with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. Love having Linda on. Linda, you were at the NHL draft. The Rangers made a number of moves, including trading Carl Hagelin, their offensive weapon. Was that the right move?
Well, you know what? Carl Hagelin, of course, for most Ranger fans, is such a likable player, such an exciting player, such a significant player, how, he's used in third, second line, penalty kill, and his speed. So much fun to watch. And you know what? He really was a pretty good performer in the postseason as well. Obviously, he scored some big goals throughout the years. But, it's a business, and Rangers cannot afford him. He was going to cost a lot of money down the road, and he would have cost a lot of money because a lot of teams wanted a guy like that. He's a great role player on a team that thinks that they want to win a Stanley Cup. So the Rangers had to make a business decision and get the best possible offer. And they got Emerson Etam from the Anaheim Ducks. And this guy is bigger, 4 years younger, has speed, not as fast as Hagelin, but he does have speed. And you know what? He knows how to score goals. He did a lot in juniors. He hasn't reached his potential yet, but I like this gamble. It's not really a big gamble because you just hope that this kid can move into his potential and do it as a New York Ranger.
Another move that the Rangers make is they trade backup goalie Cam Talbot. Now, of course, he filled in great, but we saw this coming. They kind of had to do this, right?
Cam Talbot was their only trading chip. Going into the draft, many Ranger fans, many people like us in the media thought you have to trade him because his stock will never be higher. Never. The guy's 27 years old, and he has one more year left on this deal, and he saves the day for the New York Rangers, as you mentioned, filling in really well for Henrik Lundqvist. They didn't miss a beat after the first 4 games when Cam Talbot was in the net. So he's proven he's a number one goaltender. So that's why I say he was the biggest chip for the Rangers. Problem is, Glenn Sather and company, if they did one move that is worth criticizing just a little bit, is the fact that, according to reports, Glenn Sather and company had decent offers on day one of the draft for a first-round pick or deals for two second-round picks. But I think Glenn Sather thought he could get a better deal if he waited, and instead it didn't work out that way. So he got those 3 later picks for Cam Talbot. But to their credit, to the Rangers organization, they turned it into other picks later with other trades.
Linda Cohn with Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team. Linda, as of today, after losing the depth that they lost over the weekend, are the Rangers still an NHL Finals team right now?
I don't know. I think we have to wait and see, and I have to see if there anything, down the road, I think they're going to wait to see how the season begins. As we know in the NHL, all you have to do is get in the playoffs. So will the Rangers make the playoffs next season? I believe they will. They still have plenty of talent there. And we saw how they mastered the regular season last year by winning the President's Trophy. And I see no reason why they are not getting in the playoffs. Will they win a Stanley Cup? I can't answer that yet because we don't know what the team's going to look like. But I think they will compete. And I'm not sure they're going to stop making moves. I really believe they, just like all of us, know there is urgency. That the guys are getting older, that Lundqvist, the Nashes, the Girardis, all those guys, the rock-solid guys are getting a year older. So they get it. They know the urgency. So that's why this team that we're seeing right now may not even be the team that laces them up when the season opens.
Linda, you're the New York sports fan. We love you for it. The Knicks, we're taking a little heat for the draft. What moves can they make to get a passing grade in this offseason?
I don't know. The rumors, because their free agency period obviously is coming up as well in the NBA. And, you hear you hear that they're out of the running. No way they're going to get Marc Gasol. That would have been nice. That's not happening. And then you hear the Aaron Aflalos and Greg Jones. And does that get Knicks fans excited? I don't think so. So it's a work in progress. You got to hope Phil Jackson knows what he's doing with this Porzingis kid. He's still a project, but what I would do is, you pick this guy 4th overall. You can't ease him in. You must play him like 18 to 20 minutes a game. He must get his feet wet, and he must get really soaked for him to learn and for us all to find out if he has all the talent and he could be a difference maker that you hope you get at a 4th overall pick. So I think we're kind of like waiting and seeing and holding our breaths, as Knicks fans have been accustomed to doing year after year, unfortunately. And Carmelo's got to stay healthy, and Carmelo hopefully isn't complaining. He's just got to put his head down and play hard.
Linda Cohn with Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team. And Linda, due to the discontent in New York with Carmelo Anthony amongst the team, at least reportedly, should the Knicks try to trade Carmelo Anthony?
It's not so easy to trade these guys anymore because of the money they make and the cap situation and all that stuff. So I just don't think they'd be able to trade him. And, I don't think Carmelo Anthony wants his legacy to be crying and whining and, have public outrage for the moves that the Knicks make. I do like a guy that cares about winning, but he's got to figure out how to do it in a different way and do it behind closed doors. If the Knicks can get an offer for Carmelo Anthony, I have to see what the heck it is, for them to pull the trigger on something like that. Because you're basically saying, you know what, we're going to go with young kids, and we hope the people in the Garden show up. You know what it's like in New York? That's dicey. You have to go, you got to balance that fine line. It's the Rangers and Knicks really. They're not that similar at all. But what they're similar about is their home is Madison Square Garden, and the owner James Dolan likes filling the seats. So they have to do what they can to keep people, seats in the fannies in the seats, and I think that is their main priority. So I don't think they would trade Carmelo Anthony, and I don't think anyone would be able to pull off a deal to get him financially.
Steven Matz, an all-time great debut for the Mets. You're a big Mets fan. How excited are you about Steven?
Oh, my goodness. And, again, I was at the NHL draft and all this was going on, and I'm like, oh, my God. I'd look on Twitter, and I'm like, Steven Matz, are you kidding me? And then looking on SportsCenter and seeing how happy his family was. It was something like a Disney movie would make, right? I mean, it's just an amazing story. Now, we've all seen as Mets fans, maybe not pitchers, but everyday players would get off to a great start maybe the first day, and then all of a sudden he would turn into a mere mortal. And so, you know how Mets fans are. We try not to get too excited, but if we can enjoy the moment, and we did on that day for Steven Matz and his family, that was great. And he sounds like, just listening to him, he's such a good kid and so humble. So I can't wait for his next start. And the pitches are the greatest on the Mets. They make you watch the game. The lineup is dicey, obviously, when Steven Matz is guy. You have to be a leading hitter at times. But, when Lucas Duda sometimes can win a game like he did against the Reds over the weekend, things like that, if you can sit through the offense, for that great pitching, well, it's worth it.
Linda Cohn with Armen and Levack. Linda, do the Mets have to make a move before the trade deadline in order to become a playoff team this year?
I'm really scared if they make a move and ruin something with one of these pitches and make a deal that just does not come back well, or go after a guy that's highly, the name of one of the Troy Tulowitzkis of the world been thrown around for 2 years, and these guys, I don't want an older, broken down guy like that. So I'm always concerned about proposed deals the Mets might make. Daniel Murphy is a professional hitter. I'd like to see him come back well-rested, healthy, and see what we can get out of him, and see if it sparks a lineup. And what about David Wright, the mystery of David Wright? Isn't he supposed to come back after the All-Star break last I looked? I mean, so I don't think, you just gotta, I wouldn't pull a deal yet. I would not do it. Not yet. No way.
Linda Cohn with Armen and Levack. And Linda, every time you join us, you being an Oswego grad, we have to drop some Oswego knowledge on you. So here's the deal. At the Oswego Sub Shop, our buddy Brady Farkas, our Capital Region insider that went to Oswego, tells us that they have an Al Roker sub. They have a Steve Levy sub. Linda, what gives? When are we going to be able to get a Linda Cohn sub?
I don't know. You have to. How is that possible? How is that possible? Do you know anyone there?
You know what, Linda? We're gonna Levack. Do we have some Oswego sources? Can we use our Oswego peeps?
There is we have some connections. Okay. I think we can make some calls.
You know what? Screw that, guys. Stop preparing for our shows the rest of the week. I want you to get on this. Contact Oswego. Let's get Linda Cohn a sub. Do you think we can make this happen, Levack?
Yeah, I mean, we may have to leverage some other eateries just to make sure that they understand how serious we are about this.
That's
but you can get it done.
Because Linda, you agree this is embarrassing for you partially, right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Although Al Roker and Steve Levy do deserve their subs, but...
Wait, Linda, what would be on your sub, though?
What would be on the sub? It'd have to be health conscious. I hate to be boring, but, something like turkey, You could throw in a little spice, throw in a little like pepperoni, some mustard. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and really design it. We should do that. You know, it would be the benefit of the Oswego Sub Shop if they want publicity.
Absolutely, it would be.
You know what I'm saying? I would talk about it, and I like to talk.
Well, we got to go because we're starving, quite frankly.
I gotta eat, man.
Linda Cohn, we love you. Thanks so much for jumping on again today, talking Rangers and all things New York sports. LindaCohn.com, at Linda Cohn on Twitter. And Linda, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.